Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Boxcryptor webinar today. My name is Philip from the Boxcryptor team. I'm a technical sales manager, and today I will give you a nice overview of Boxcryptor. Today, Boxcryptor in together with Dropbox. That means encrypting files, your personal files or your company files on storage, cloud storage like Dropbox. However, Boxcryptor is a solution, an encryption solution that works with, well, almost every cloud storage provider like OneDrive, Box, Dropbox, Google Drive, whatever. And also you can encrypt local file storages, network file storages. So in this webinar, you will see how flexible is Boxcryptor to protect your company's data. During the webinar, you always have the option to send me your questions. Use the chat or the Q&A functionality here in your client, and you can interact with me. And I would highly appreciate your questions because that always helps me to, well, get an understanding of what you're looking for by using a solution like Boxcryptor. The agenda is pretty clear. On the first, in the first half, I will show you how to use Boxcryptor on a Windows client. Boxcryptor is available for all major platforms, Mac, Linux, iOS, Android, and so on. However, today's webinar, we will stay on a Windows machine, a Windows client. And after that, I will show you the web platform where you can manage your Boxcryptor organization, managing users, groups, and also policies. I will now share my screen with you, and we will start with end user client on Microsoft Teams. So 1 second, sorry. And now, so I already have Boxcryptor installed here and also have a Dropbox client besides other clients installed, and I already signed in Boxcryptor. So you can see here on the bottom right, Boxcryptor is already started and I'm signed in. So for signing, you can go to our website, boxcryptor.com, sign in. And if you haven't started already, go to Product for Teams, and you will see the free trial here. It's a 14-day trial for the company license. Every feature is enabled, no limitations. The only limit is the 14 days of the trial. But if you need to extend the trial, just send us a quick email to sales@boxcryptor.com. After you sign up, you can install your client and sign in the client. If you double click on the Boxcryptor icon here, the Boxcryptor, your Explorer opens, and the Explorer opens in the Boxcryptor virtual drive. And this is the most important part here, to understand how Boxcryptor works or how you can work with encrypted file and how Boxcryptor handles storage and the encryption of files. Normally, you would go to directly to your Dropbox or to your OneDrive folder. However, with using Boxcryptor, you go to the Boxcryptor drive, which is the X drive here. And within the Boxcryptor drive, you see your cloud storages like Dropbox, Google Drive, or OneDrive, and even more. Everything you have installed or Boxcryptor has automatically detected. Now, if you work within the Boxcryptor drive, Boxcryptor automatically decrypts and encrypts files. That means if you save a file using the Boxcryptor drive within your Dropbox, Boxcryptor automatically encrypts the file and you can simply access the file. The actual encrypted file or the file in encrypted state is stored on the Dropbox or OneDrive server, whichever server of whichever cloud provider you're using. However, using Boxcryptor on your client, the Boxcryptor drive, Boxcryptor automatically decrypts the files once you access them. I will show you that right now. So I am now within my Boxcryptor drive and I go into Dropbox. And you see that 2 of these folders are marked with this little green rectangle. And that little green rectangle indicates this is an encrypted folder, and all the content within that folder is also encrypted. However, as a user, you can simply open the file, and Boxcryptor automatically decrypts this file once you access it. You can view the file, you can also edit the file and save it. And once you save it, only the encrypted version of the file gets stored on the Dropbox server. So let's take a closer look here. I am within the Boxcryptor drive and my Dropbox in the management folder. Within the Boxcryptor drive, I can right-click on any file or folder, of course. Select Boxcryptor, and I have some options here like decrypt or manage permissions. We will take a closer look at these later, but we can also click here, show original in Dropbox. And this will bring us to the actual physical folder where the physical files are stored. And hey, let's see here, it looks pretty encrypted. So what do we see here? This is actually the same file. However, this is the actual physical file here. This is a fully encrypted file. And on the left side, we see the files that get decrypted on the fly by Boxcryptor. So what do we see here? First of all, of course, these Chinese characters. That means we have the file name encryption enabled for these files or this folder. This is an optional feature. You can turn it on and off. A user can decide if he wants to turn it on or off on his client or even on specific folders or files. But you can also, you as an administrator, you can set a policy for your organization, for your complete Boxcryptor organization, and force file name encryption on specific users or specific groups of users. How to do this, I will show you later on the administration panel. So this is the file name encryption, which is optional. And you see the .bc file extension here. That's just the encrypted files. So everything encrypted, doesn't matter if it's an Office file or a media file, whatever. It has the .bc, it's an encrypted file. And if you want to edit or open the file, you go using the Boxcryptor drive. So I have, so what are you doing now? I have an already encrypted folder and I would like to show you, first of all, how to encrypt folders or files you already have uploaded to your cloud storage, Dropbox in this example. And after that, I will show you how to move files from a local file server or local client onto the cloud with an end-to-end encryption. So if we take a look at the marketing folder here, these folders or files here are not encrypted. Yeah, I just open it. And if we go on the right side, which is the physical Dropbox, we also find that marketing folder here, and you can see, yes, nothing here is encrypted actually. So how do we encrypt the file afterwards, after being uploaded, which is of course not recommended. You should encrypt the files before uploading. So, but if you already have files uploaded and just started with Boxcryptor, simply right-click on any folder or file within the Boxcryptor drive, which is important. Boxcryptor, encrypt. Now Boxcryptor asks you to close all open files and is now encrypting the marketing folder. Okay, so what changes? Because we already uploaded the folder and just encrypted it afterwards, we have just added that little underscore encrypted here. We can just simply rename it. Okay, that works. And now after the sync is done, all the files here are encrypted. And if we just look at the timestamp, this is this one. Exactly. This is the same files, but now they are actually encrypted. Okay, and still Boxcryptor can decrypt these files on the fly once we try to access them, and we can edit and work with these files. So how do you normally should work with files that are moved to the cloud? So if you, I have the support folder here. So this is a folder, well, it's on my desktop, but it could be anywhere on your local hard drive, wherever. And you can simply drag and drop it into the Dropbox folder here, into the Dropbox. And now Boxcryptor asks you, do you want to encrypt or not encrypt? I tell encrypt. And now the folder gets synced to Dropbox. However, it's encrypted. So at no time, unencrypted files are uploaded to Dropbox servers or any other cloud storage provider's server. And once again, we can work here with these folders and just double check, is everything encrypted? Well, of course, the green rectangle tells us it's encrypted. We can also right-click Boxcryptor, show original in Dropbox, and yes, it's fully decrypted. Now, currently, if you check the, well, any folder, doesn't matter which one, let's do this one, right-click Boxcryptor and check Manage Permissions. So who can access this encrypted folder? Currently, only John Doe, my account I'm using here for demo purposes, is allowed to, from a cryptographic view, access this folder. And if you want to work with your colleagues, your friends, whoever, you have to add permissions. So we can either use groups or we can use single users. For example, my personal account, pv@secomba.com, and we can now apply these permissions. However, in a company environment, I would highly recommend that we are using groups, or that you are using groups, just for better management of the permissions. And also, if a user within a group changes, you remove a user or you add a user to a group, you don't have to sync the files, the key files again. Okay, very easy. Setting permissions, applying permissions. We now apply the permissions to all the folders, and files within that folder. And after that, permission setting is done. Takes a little bit longer than usual. Okay, it's now done. And now everybody, so me, John Doe, and also the members of this test group here, can now access the encrypted files within this folder. And of course, if you work within that folder, for example, create new documents, whatever, the document automatically gets encrypted, and it also has the same permissions that the whole folder has. If you have any questions, if you want to see something again or whatever, just send me a message using the chat or the Q&A functionality in the Zoom client. Before we move to the administration, I would like to talk a little bit about the possible settings here. So double click on the Boxcryptor icon, opens the Boxcryptor drive. However, on the right click, we can go to settings. Let's start with locations here. As I said, Boxcryptor automatically detects which cloud provider clients you have installed. So in my case, Dropbox, Google Drive, OneDrive. Boxcryptor is also a great solution if you want to encrypt files on a network drive or on a USB drive, for example, or even your local folders. So I have a USB drive here. And if I stick it in, yes, Boxcryptor automatically detects that a new location removable disk was added. And if you want to, you can use Boxcryptor to encrypt your USB stick, or using the add button here, any other location on your device. So let's say I create a folder here, any folder, new folder, secure folder, whatever. You can go to the Boxcryptor settings, locations, add, we go to desktop, secure folder, select folder. And now this new folder here, or this new location, is available in the Boxcryptor drive, in the X drive here, secure folder. And I can now store encrypted files here, encrypt. And if you take a look at the actual folder here, the only thing we see is an encrypted file. Any questions about this? If not, okay. One thing about permissions. So I had some Boxcryptor permissions here in this at the support folder with other people. However, these people need a Boxcryptor account, and they need, of course, a Boxcryptor client on their device. However, sometimes you maybe want to share encrypted files with somebody who doesn't have Boxcryptor, or with somebody who doesn't want to set up any account in another service, whatever, or you just simply want to share with him an encrypted file. So where's the solution for that? And the solution is also developed by us. It's called Whispery. It's integrated into Boxcryptor. It's also part of the license, so no extra payment for Whispery or extra licensing for Whispery. Just if you license Boxcryptor, you can use Whispery too. I am in any encrypted folder, doesn't matter which one. I just select any encrypted file. So let's say I want to send this calculation file to my tax consultant. If you right-click the file within the Boxcryptor drive, Boxcryptor, and click Create Whispery link. So Whispery is an end-to-end encryption solution. However, it is web-based. That means the Whispery uses or can be used from the browser, and we're now using the integration in Boxcryptor. So I selected Create Whispery link. Boxcryptor asks me to close all open files and is now processing this file, and we will soon be, yes, redirected to our browser. Okay, so this is now Whispery, and we see the calculation file here I selected. I can now click Proceed. We have now some sharing options. For example, we can say that this link, the specific Whispery link, can expire in 12 hours, 28 days, or even never, or if it's a one-time download or not. So I just leave it here at default, and we go to the next stage. This is the security level we can set. You can use Whispery just with a simple link. So you just send the Whispery link, and it's of course with an end-to-end encryption. However, in some cases, I would recommend to set a link and a PIN, or a link and a password, just having a second factor for security reasons. This example, I will select link and PIN. And I will now get my Whispery link. And I will just quickly open an incognito window so that you can actually see how it looks from the other person's view. So, okay. Okay, on the right side, the recipient, and on the left side, it's me, the sender. Okay, let's copy that Whispery link here and send it via email, for example. Yeah, we will send it via email, and the other person is opening that link. Now we selected link and PIN, so the other person needs to enter that PIN. Of course, you shouldn't send the link in the same email, so I would recommend via phone or via instant messaging. However, 2219, click Undock now. And the other person sees in preview which file it is. And once the person hits Download Now, what happens? The file, the encrypted file, that's actually an encrypted file here, gets downloaded into the local client, local browser of the other person. After being downloaded, it gets decrypted, and when it's made available, so you can save it. Will happen pretty fast because it's a small file. So pay attention. Once I click Download Now, it gets downloaded, decrypted, and made available for download. Takes a little bit longer. Okay. Okay, that was, yeah, and that's it. And the file is now downloaded. So Whispery, as I said, it's included in Boxcryptor, no extra charge, included in your license, and you can use Whispery to send encrypted files to somebody outside of your organization, somebody who doesn't have or doesn't want to use Boxcryptor as a service. Okay, so Whispery is always the option if, yeah, somebody doesn't have a Boxcryptor account. Okay, any questions about Boxcryptor and Boxcryptor on the client here? If not, we will move on to Boxcryptor, to the administration of a Boxcryptor company. None yet, okay. Okay, So what we did now is, well, the typical daily usage of Boxcryptor, just working with encrypted files, make sure that no unprotected files leave your company or get uploaded to any cloud. However, in some cases, or let's say initially, you are going to set up a Boxcryptor organization, a Boxcryptor company. As I previously said, you can try everything out I show you with the free trial, which is available on our website, boxcryptor.com, product for teams. And I will sign in with my dummy account, John Doe here. And yes, password. Great time to talk about password. We are a zero knowledge company. That means if you forget your password, or if a user forgets his password, he loses access to his encrypted files. We have no option to make your password available for you. We never get your password in any way. Your password gets encrypted on your device, and only the encrypted version gets stored in our service. We have no option. It's one of the main reasons many companies are using Boxcryptor, because of that zero knowledge we provide. So please make sure, if you sign up for a trial or sign up to purchase Boxcryptor, make sure to remember your personal password and also your master key password. I will talk about the master key later. Okay. On the first sign in, you will see the green layout. The green layout indicates that you are in the personal account overview. So everything we do here, even if John Doe is the administrator, however, green layout, personal account. So of course, John can manage his account here, his name, his email address, and hopefully John signs up for our newsletter and also for all the notifications. I just talked about that we cannot reset your password. However, if you do know your password, you of course can change your password. So that's always possible to change the password here. And yeah, once again, since Boxcryptor is a zero knowledge service, we do not have access to your password. Therefore, it is not possible to reset your password if you forget it. So please make sure. I'm sorry that I repeat it so often, but please make sure to securely store your password and don't forget your password. Of course, we offer two-factor authentication. You can use almost every service. There are authenticator apps like Google Authenticator or Microsoft Authenticator, and security keys like the YubiKey. We have a great cooperation with the YubiKey company, but also other security keys. So if you want it, you can use it. And of course, I will show you later how to do that, but you can also set policies for your users to enforce the use of a two-factor. Next one are the groups. Once again, green layout, personal account overview. So these are the groups my account is currently a member of. And yes, you can create groups, you can delete, leave, rename groups. What a user is allowed to do with groups, if he's allowed to create, leave, whatever, is also something you can manage using Boxcryptor policies. Boxcryptor is, of course, available on all major platforms. And as you can see here, some of our developers are using this account too. And going to boxcryptor.com, you can also remove devices. If a device gets lost or gets stolen, you can remove the device here. And the Boxcryptor account from the device gets logged out and doesn't have any access to the encrypted files anymore. Same for the web sessions here. So I could, well, for example, remove some of these. If you need help, if you are interested, if you say, hey, Philip, that was a great webinar and I would like to test Boxcryptor, of course, send me an email or send my colleagues an email if you need any help. However, I can recommend our help pages because they are, in my opinion, very good. So you can always go to our help pages. We have a lot of resources and a lot of FAQs, quick start guide, whatever. Everything is can be found here on the help pages. And if you need to contact the support team for any reason, you can do that at support@boxcryptor.com. But Also, my recommendation is sign into your account, go to help and contact support, because here we can prioritize your ticket based on your license status. So if you're testing Boxcryptor for Teams, you have the company license, and it gives you one of the most highest prioritizations. So you will probably get a response in 2 or 3 hours for us. And yes, advanced tab, 2 interesting things to talk about. First of all, export keys. So we don't have any vendor login or something like that. So you can always export your keys and potentially use Boxcryptor offline, or use Boxcryptor without connection to our servers and to the internet. Export key feature is, however, is a backup feature. So Boxcryptor is a software as a service solution, and most features like group management, permission management, they only work if you can connect to our servers. So you can always export your keys, but see it as a backup solution, not as a solution you should use for working daily with Boxcryptor, because as I said, most important feature like permission management doesn't work with local offline accounts. And yes, you can also delete your account, but deleting account means deleting your keys too. So just that you know, there's a lot of confirmation done here. Also, it's not just the password, but we also give you a big warning that if you delete your account, we delete your keys. So if you really want to delete your account, please export your keys before, and after that, delete your account. Okay, so let's go into organization management. Here on the left side, manage organization. Once again, green layout, personal, and if I click manage organization, it changes to a blue layout. So blue layout means we are now in the organization management. So we are not working as John Doe, but we are working as the company, the organization you set up to use with Boxcryptor. So the first tab, and probably one of the most important features here, is the master key feature. As I said, we are a zero knowledge company. If you forget your password, you lose, or if you lose your password, you lose access to your encrypted files. A company always wants to prevent data loss, and therefore we made the master key as one of the first features we ever developed for the company package. And the master key means that the person who set up the master key of administration can always access all encrypted files encrypted by their users. So in this case, currently the master key is active for 5 of 6 users. That means for all users except Jane Doe here, I could decrypt all their encrypted files here. The master key can be, well, my proposition is set it up. The first thing you do is set up the master key. Do it first. If you do it later, the following will happen, what you see here, active for 5 of 6 users. Once a user signs in after the master key is enabled, the master key gets enabled for him. So if I want to fix this, active for 5 of 6 users, Jane Doe has to sign in again. And yes, here's the hint. You can force a user to sign in again by removing all devices. So this is something I could do here, but this is a demo organization here. But yes, set up the master key. It's very important, and it helps you or your company to prevent any data loss by users that forget their Boxcryptor password. Talking about the users, there are different methods of onboarding or managing users. So we get a little overview if we click here, and you also have the option to add users here. Very simple, just adding them by email address, and they get an email invitation, and they accept, and they are a member of your company. So this works for 5, 10, maybe 15 users, but if you want to use Boxcryptor with more users, you can simply sync users and groups using a user directory like Active Directory, LDAP, and also Dropbox Business. And for our enterprise clients, we do have the option for single sign-on, for example, using Azure AD, Microsoft accounts, Okta, whatever. And talking about users, you can always disable a user or even delete a user. My recommendation, disable a user is the preferred way, because after disabling, you can always enable a user back again and nothing is lost. But if you delete a user, yes, his keys gets deleted. So my recommendation, disable before deletion. Well, groups, of course, groups can be synced using Active Directory, but you can also create your own groups here, your own Boxcryptor groups, or you can allow your users to create groups. Well, that's just how you want to do it. If you already have Active Directory groups, you just want to use these, you disable the option to create a specific Boxcryptor groups here and for the users. But if you say, hey, I just want my users to use Boxcryptor however they like it, you can give them the option to create specific Boxcryptor groups too. Groups are used for two things. The first one I already showed you. If you go to Dropbox, right-click Boxcryptor, manage permissions. Yes, we can use groups here for managing permissions on the files, but we can also use groups for policies. And yeah, policies are your best option or are the option to customize Boxcryptor. You have some specific security guidelines, compliance, and this is what you are using policies for. I will give you a quick overview of the different policies. And if you have a specific question to a policy, just use the chat or send me an email later and we can talk about your, what you're trying to achieve, and we will help you to achieve this with our policies. So of course you can manage policies like access, restrict, or allow users from specific countries and specific IP addresses. And the next one, account. For example, auditing. Auditing means you can audit everything your user do. Where did he sign in? Is he using two-factor? Whatever. And you can, of course, disable auditing completely, but you can also set a retention period for these audits. For example, if you click here, you can say, okay, all audits gets deleted after 3 months. And in the next step, you can say for which users does that apply to? Apply to all current and future users, apply to all current and future users except selected ones, apply only to selected users. So my recommendation in this specific case, I would apply it to all current and future users except selected ones. And I would say the user John Doe is our administrator. And John Doe could do things with this organization, for example, deleting users, changing policies. So I would accept him from that policy. That means that his audit reports don't get deleted after a specific time frame. And that's how easy it is to set up a policy in Boxcryptor. And after setting up a policy, you can always review the policy and, for example, add a note, disable or edit the policy, edit the users, and also see the current activities. So currently one activity, John Doe created the policy, but if I edit anything here, it will, of course, be audited too. Okay, account. Yes, and another policy I would highly recommend is to disallow the key export for all users except the administration. If a user exports his keys and he leaves the company, you disable his Boxcryptor account, he can still use the key file. So my recommendation for regular users, disallow the key export. Authentication, force or require or disallow the use of a two-factor authentication, maximum number of devices. So there is no maximum number of devices with our license. You can use as many devices with your users as you would like to, but if you want to, you can limit this number here. Encryption, interesting part. We have two options here. It's three. It's one is related to the file name encryption, require or disallow file name encryption, and the other one is require encryption. I will go into the Boxcryptor drive and this disallow file name encryption. So what's of course, the good thing about file name encryption is obviously that nobody who doesn't have permission to can identify what these files are about. However, on the downside, it's very hard to identify what these files are about. So let's say you delete or your user deletes by accident, deletes an important file. And he now asks you as an administrator to get the file back from a backup. How do you do it? You can't identify it by file name, so you have to go with the timestamp or something else. So this is something you should consider if you require file name or if you maybe should disallow file name encryption. If it isn't needed by your compliance or by your security standards, maybe think about disallowing file name encryption. Maybe for the regular users, you can require it, for example, the HR department. And require encryption is the following. If you are working within an already encrypted folder, like the management folder here, everything you create or move or upload here gets automatically decrypted by Boxcryptor. Second, once the sync is through, you will see the green dot here that the file is actually encrypted. Yes. However, if you create something, we are in the Boxcryptor drive, within the Dropbox in a not encrypted folder, and the Dropbox itself is not marked as encrypted. Boxcryptor always asks you, do you want to encrypt or do you don't want to encrypt? So you give the users the option to say, do you want to encrypt, encrypt, do not encrypt? Do not encrypt. And if you set the policy require encryption, there's no context menu that asks the user if he wants to encrypt or not. Everything he creates or uploads or moves gets automatically decrypted. Whispery is the feature I showed you to share. You can disable Whispery. And if you are using Boxcryptor in our Microsoft Teams integration, you can also disable file downloads in Microsoft Teams. Let's talk about groups and permissions here. So this is just how you want your users to work with Boxcryptor. What do you allow them to do? What you don't allow them to do? Do you allow them to join groups, disallow creation, leave groups, or even are they allowed to change permissions? So that's just 100% your option. Do you want to allow them to do that or not? Yeah, locations, everything. Locations are OneDrive, Dropbox. So all the locations that are used with Boxcryptor are locations. You can, for example, allow, require, or set a maximum number of locations. And yeah, here's some things about the password. If you want to see how your users work with Boxcryptor, you could go to the Activities tab. And here you get a nice overview of everything that happens in your organization. Of course, main user here is John Doe, but of course, if you have multiple users, you can, for example, see where did users sign in from, which device, what happened with policies, what happened with groups. And of course, you can filter all these activities by activity, even by user, and of course, on the time frame, and easily export the files, the detail folder files, and maybe send it to your data privacy officer. Okay, yeah, last but not least, licensing. Everything I showed you today is part of the Boxcryptor company license. It's available for 1 or 3 years. And if you need a quote, you can simply contact us, sales@boxcryptor.com. Okay, we now have a nice overview of how to work with files in Boxcryptor, with Boxcryptor on Dropbox, and also how to manage your Boxcryptor organization. I also showed you a little included feature. It's called Whispery, how to share encrypted files with other persons outside of your organization. The official part here is of the webinar is now over. I will stay for a little bit longer to answer all the questions, but I would like to thank you, everybody. Thank you for your attention. I hope you could learn something, and I hope I could show you how flexible Boxcryptor is and how easy it is to use Boxcryptor to secure your files in the cloud. Thank you, everybody.